What up? What up? What's good? What's good, family? Welcome to another episode of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. It's Maestro Styles and Trey Fraser here in the house.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to all of our Facebook Live viewers. Make sure y'all tune in there. Don't forget to continue to follow us on our Facebook page. Also, follow us on our YouTube channel as well. Make sure you subscribe there. Also on Twitter, we're at Barbershop SPOR2, and you can find us on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. What's going on, man? It's been one crazy week on my end. What's going on with you, bro?
Never dead, never down.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, man. Uh, really excited about this show. We got the draft coming up 2 days from now, so we'll get into that. But I got to get into some basketball if there's nothing you wanted to start out with.
No, man. Um, I don't have to start out with it, but it's fresh on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, I'm here now. Fuck it. Did you know? So the show was good. You know, we was doing pre-pro, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and and Karl Malone is trending on Twitter. Do you know why?
I do not know why. I'm gonna take a guess though, because it seems like, and it's funny you said that because the last time I think I noticed that Karl Malone was trending was when the Last Dance documentary last year, and it got to that segment where they were talking about the Jazz and the Bulls, going at it in the finals, and then they talked about Karl Malone and how, you know, I guess he got a 13-year-old pregnant when he first entered the league or something crazy like that. So I'm gonna guess it has something to do with that, not the Last Dance per se, but the whole rumor about him getting a 13-year-old pregnant. I'm gonna assume that's what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I've never heard this until just now.
Really?
Never heard of this.
Oh wow, yeah, they brought that up during the Last Dance last year.
They brought up who the actual ESPN brought it up.
No, I'm talking about Twitter.
Oh, on Twitter. Okay,
When
okay,
it was
okay.
trending, that's what people
Gotcha.
were making mention of.
I had no clue that he. So we don't know if this is true or not.
I don't know if it's true. Some people have said this was the case. I haven't heard Karl Malone himself come out and confirm this, yay or nay.
Of course, he wouldn't confirm that.
Um, well, I'll say this: I haven't heard anybody ask him about it. Let's put it like that. No one. I haven't heard nobody ask him about it.
Yeah. They. Oh my gosh. They said this dude had sex. He was 20. He impregnated a 13-year-old. The child is obviously grown by now. I didn't really get defined,
Mm-hmm.
a story covering it yet. And by the time I really got to trying to dig for it,
Mm-hmm.
we was ready to start rolling. But
Yeah.
um, uh, yuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's
That's
true,
just disturbing.
if it's
Of
true,
course,
and if
of
it's
course.
true, why have we only talked about it on Twitter? Why I mean, I would imagine some sort of statute of limitation is up, maybe, but
Mm-hmm.
why are we not vilifying Karl Malone? I was jersey shopping, online looking for jerseys the other day,
Yeah.
and came across the Karl Malone. Like, yeah, don't a
Of
lot of
all
people.
people.
Yeah, not a lot of people wear Karl Malone jerseys, and I like the '97 style jerseys. Maybe I'll get me a
The
Karl
joint
Malone
with the
jersey.
mountain on it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and man, I'm glad I didn't pull the trigger.
Well, maybe you know now why not a lot of people are wearing Karl Malone jerseys.
That's yeah, because I can't wear that jersey, and he's even being associated with something so crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I I don't know if it's true or not. I've just heard it on several occasions, and even before the Last Dance documentary last year, there may have been mention of it, like through tabloids and stuff like that. But never have I heard ESPN bring it up. Never had I heard Fox or anybody else or any of these networks bring it up. I've just always heard it through social media. And who
Yuck.
knows? Who knows? Maybe Twitter or somebody on there has like a an article or something that maybe talks about it, or an article from a reliable source that maybe digs, deeper into that.
Yuck.
But yeah, if it's true, then yeah, that's nasty. And yeah, you kind of wonder of, all these years, and now, cuz I mean, Karl Malone, like, we don't know what Karl Malone does. We don't know cuz we don't see him on social media. I mean, he retired one day after, joining the Lakers that one year, and then we just kind of never heard from him again.
Yeah, I tell you what, that
Mm,
I hate to be the dude that's drawing inferences and stereotyping, but that his whole look on the Last Dance documentary,
mhm.
like I'm looking at that look differently now. Like,
Because remember,
is this what you?
he declined to do an interview for it, if you remember.
Yeah. Okay. So, but he was seen somewhere during that series. Not on the series. I'm sorry. So I get what you're saying. I'm saying on the series. He wasn't on the series,
Yeah,
but
he wasn't
he
seen
did
on the
some type of.
series.
He did some type of an interview or something, and he had like the logger man, the log, I don't know, the Paul Bunyan type shirt on, and he
Okay,
had the yeah, I can't
that might
recall
have been
where.
pre-recorded maybe years ago, because I do recall seeing something like that, maybe 12 years ago. So I think they took a clip of that and inserted it into the documentary. He didn't do an actual spot.
Well, that look, I still look at that look differently right now,
Of course,
knowing knowing
of
these like,
course.
nah, yeah, that I don't know,
Yeah,
that looked funky to me. That looks funky to me.
yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible if that's what, went down. You
I
know what I'm
hope he didn't
saying?
do it. Let me just say that I hope he didn't impregnate a 13-year-old child. Um, because we should be talking about him in this, just like we talked about the white dude who impregnated or married his stepdaughter or whatever, and like grew her up and married her. Who was the actor,
Hmm.
director? Woody Allen. Woody Allen. What is it? Woody
Woody
Allen?
Allen.
Yeah, it's Woody
Okay.
Allen. Yeah, it's
Okay.
Woody Allen. Yeah, so
Okay.
we should be talking
Okay.
about him, John, like how
And
we talking about.
we vilified Woody Allen though, right? We
I
vilified
mean,
him, right?
I don't know if we necessarily vilified him. I mean, we acknowledge that he a nasty dude, but we
Hmm.
should be putting Karl Malone in that same light. If he should certainly be in the same
Hmm.
light.
Yeah, I think people's minds have been made up, based on what I see on Twitter whenever they mention Karl Malone, that yeah, this is a nasty dude.
Yeah, I don't want to talk
I,
about
like you,
him.
hope he didn't do these things. But I'm just not, I mean, until it's somewhere somehow confirmed by a reliable source, um,
It's
I'm
too
just
old
gonna
for them.
leave it
It's too old
alone.
for them to
But
care. It's too old for them to care, though.
hmm
It's
right,
too. It's
right.
literally too old
But
for them to care.
there is something about a guy of his star to just quit the game, not, not abruptly or anything like that. I mean, he had a long career, but a Hall of Famer that, played in the league and retired and then just kind of disappeared,
Hmm.
just, out of nowhere. No, no media jobs, no side gigs, no, nothing like that. The next place I saw him was with like the lumberjacket joint. So
Yeah,
uh
yeah. I don't like it. I don't
you
like it
you
at
you
all.
want to
It
say
looks
hi?
nasty.
Go ahead, say hi to the people. Okay. All right. You can go ahead and head back downstairs, okay?
Daddy, can I have some mac and cheese?
Mac and cheese? Why don't you ask your mother for mac and cheese?
Can I have some?
She won't give it to you? Is
No,
that what it is?
he
Okay.
said no.
Okay. Well,
No,
you ate
it's
mac and cheese for dinner already. So,
I'm
okay,
hungry.
try asking her again. See if she'll change her mind. All right. Go
she
ahead, see if
tried to
she'll change
get
her
you.
mind.
She tried to get you.
All right. See ya.
She
My
tried to
daughter,
get you,
people.
bro.
My daughter
She tried to
people.
get you, bro. Nah, she tried to. That's kid. That's parent versus parent 101 right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all good though.
Yeah, but getting back to Karl Malone, yeah, man, I don't. Let me say this: I'll do my proper internet research and try to come up with some type of conclusion on my own. But
Hmm.
uh, uh,
Now is he trending right this second, or was he trending just
I
maybe a while ago?
I I literally pulled up Twitter to just like I do any other day.
Hmm.
The let me see if he's still trending. Don't look like he's still trending. Maybe he was trending earlier today or something. But
Yeah, he's still trending. He's still trending on
oh
my
well, there
end.
you go.
Yep, yep. Yeah,
So
somebody.
yeah, so I
Yes.
mean, ain't no need to go through all of it. The point is that he was trending today for whatever reason, and
Yeah,
that's what was
I guess
found.
that's the interesting part. Like, why?
Why is he trending? Yeah, why
Why?
is he trending?
Because I know
Yeah,
why he
I
was
have yet
trending
to.
last year because of the documentary.
The only thing I saw was only thing I saw that was sports related was I was scrolling was Skip Bayless said that Karl Malone is better than Steph Curry, which I don't agree with, but
Uh,
whatever.
okay, okay. Yeah, it's funny. So when every time you see a name trend, there's actual tweets about, hey, why is this guy trending? Like it's,
Yeah.
like everybody's questioning why is this person trending, but um Mark Lamont Hill, he says Karl Malone is trending. I don't know why, but he's human garbage. So he's got his own opinion about Karl Malone, however way he, received
Seems
that.
to be common fact that Karl Malone impregnated a 13-year old. That's what it's saying. And again, I don't know it to be true, so I don't and I don't
Yeah,
have no information. I just want to hear the story of when this happened,
yeah,
what happened. I mean, I don't want
yeah.
nothing play by
I hear you,
play. I
bro.
just what was reported when we found out. But I'll be honest with you, Trey. It's that the fact that many people are talking about it. That's enough for me to kind of draw where I'm going to go with it.
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah.
I don't want to. I don't.
And it's
I'm.
not the first time. It's not the first time that this has been resurfacing. It's resurfaced again for whatever reason. You said Skip said he's better than Steph Curry or some crazy ass stuff like that. But yeah,
And then
if it
people started to be
resurfaces this
like,
much, then something's up. Something's up.
yeah. I don't. I can't see me. I can't see me speaking about Karl Malone no more in
If Mark Lamont
basketball.
Hill says that, then yeah,
I
something's
don't
up.
know that nigga. I'm just, yeah.
If Mark Lamont Hill said that, then yeah, something's up.
So you think he impregnated a 13-year-old?
I'm leaning towards that way.
Yuck. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't acknowledge him as one of the top power forwards in the league no more. I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it. It's like R. Kelly. I can't. I'm not acknowledging him. I can't do it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Not a lot of people are acknowledging R. Kelly for that matter. But I tell you what, I will acknowledge from yesterday's games basketball that both our teams' winning streaks were snapped yesterday. The Wizards was on what 10-game win streak or
Eight,
9, 8 game.
eight.
Okay, and so 8 games before y'all went down to the Spurs in what overtime, right?
In overtime. Yeah.
Yep. And then the Knicks last night were on a 9-game win streak, and we were up by like 15 points in the first quarter, and then we just kind of lost that lead like late in the third and going into the fourth quarter, and Chris Paul just, did Chris Paul things, take over a game, knock down shots, consecutive possessions, and that was pretty much it there. But so the Knicks right now they still sitting pretty at the number 4 seed in the East. The Wizards are sitting at the number 10 spot all by themselves, I think. Um, so what? So how many
Um.
games? So how many games is left? Like
I don't know.
13, 12, 13 games
I don't
left.
know. I don't
Okay.
know. But let me get into the if I may. I don't know, but what you've been taking from what you taken from the Knicks, but I could tell you, um, how Russell Westbrook, right? So Russell Westbrook, in the press conference, I don't know, I didn't watch the entire press conference. I didn't watch any of it. I saw this on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
but essentially, they got into a conversation that was Russell Westbrook defending his game to the media, essentially saying that y'all don't. He said something about stat padding, like like y'all keep saying I'm stat padding. I don't care. Whoop
Mm-hmm.
whoop whoop. None of this was an issue. Like why are my triple doubles so useless? Oscar Robertson is a triple double machine. Matt, he went on to mention the greats, uh, and why he is getting not getting the credit he deserves for having the triple double, for averaging triple doubles
Mm-hmm.
on numerous occasions.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, I guess, is it just because he don't have a championship? Is that it? Why we can't acknowledge Russell Westbrook? And I'm including myself. But I'm is it just because he don't have rings? We feel like he should have a ring by now, and that's why we are underestimating, not giving his regular season stats the props he deserves.
I don't think that's it. I come to realize with Russell Westbrook, and it's not his fault because he is who he is. His personality is what it is. But I take it that the media doesn't receive Russell Westbrook very well, like in press conferences, pre-game, post-game, um, the whole media, versus player game, like, haha, trying to get you to say something interesting and,
You there?
he doesn't get be trying to about. Like he doesn't engage in that. Russell Westbrook style, that's been him since day one. So I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's just that he doesn't have a chip. I just think that personality wise, I don't think he's received very well by the media.
Okay, you phased out, and I could tell you said a lot. Um, what I
Yeah, and I
gathered
can
is that
and I could kind of tell you why I kind of phased out, but I don't want to ruin the show. So go right
okay.
ahead. Let's continue. Let's wrap.
Yeah. So essentially, they don't. But I needed to hear why you said they don't take him well.
Hmm. Oh, I think they don't take him well because I think Russell Westbrook is a serious cat. You know what I'm saying? So at least in the press conferences that I've seen him, pre-game, post-game, he has a serious demeanor to him. Like he's not into, you know, the laughing, the jokes, and things like that throughout these press conferences. He's really just the dude that just wants the ball. Like he's not a guy that's gonna engage with the media on a fun level. So
So you're saying he's
I
intimidating?
think that's part of what um I don't know if that's the word. Let me give you an example. Magic Johnson. You would say
Mm-hmm.
Magic Johnson had a personality, right? And that he engaged with
Sure.
the media and things like that. Right.
Sure.
Yeah, and right. And I agree with the same thing. I don't see any of that in Russell Westbrook when it comes to
Would you
personality.
say would you say that Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant handle the media in a similar fashion?
I
Because I ain't
think
never.
I think in some ways similar. I think Durant is a little versatile more with, being engaging with the media and kind of, putting on a serious face when it needs to be put on. I've never seen Russell engage with the media on a fun level like that. I've just never seen it. I've seen Durant do it on, some occasions early in his OKC days. Not so much, now, and not even really when he was with the Warriors, not so much. But yeah, I mean, I think Durant and Westbrook, I think they both can have similar demeanors, when it comes to talking to the media. But I think Durant can kind of diversify himself a little bit better than Russell Westbrook can.
Nah. I ain't gonna lie. I think it's because he don't got a ring. I think it's
So who were the
because I
guys
think
that
it,
they compared him to in terms of triple
nobody. What you
doubles?
mean? No. They didn't compare him to anybody.
Oh,
Russell
okay.
Westbrook was saying that
Mm-hmm.
why am I not in the why he didn't say. I'm paraphrasing and I know I'm probably butchering what he said.
Yeah.
But what I took from it was why he's saying why am I not considered as up there with the Magic Johnsons with the Oscar Robertsons when I perform on the court in a similar fashion. The stats suggest that I'm as good as them. I'm that dude. I'm really that nice. I mean, there's an
Mm-hmm.
argument. Um, I don't even think there's an argument. Russell Westbrook is the most athletic point, and we've heard it said all the time. He's the most athletic point guard to maybe ever play the game, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but certainly in right now of
Mm-hmm.
basketball, it is
Right.
Russell Westbrook. And we know we all thought that Derrick Rose was going to be that dude, but injuries, however,
Sure.
how his
Sure.
career went,
Mm-hmm.
but Russell Westbrook, if you're talking about a point guard who plays the way he plays, slasher,
Yep.
he's that guy. I don't. There's not a point guard who does what he does better than him in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe ever. I
Right.
mean, feel free to throw your comparisons, but he doesn't get that type of respect for what he's done in revolutionizing the game. And in his defense, that's a fair issue to have. I do think that it's because he don't got a chip. I do think and let me say, I do also think it's because the whole he's a bad teammate, that narrative that was drawn, he's a bad teammate, and that maybe he was the dude that broke up OKC because
Yeah. Right.
nobody could really get along with him, that his
Right.
play on
Right.
the court, that's that and the third. But
Yeah.
the and for lack of, I mean, for if I'm being honest, um I was one of those dudes early in his career that was like, yeah, maybe he need to have a couple of more assists. You know what I'm saying? I was that dude.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I've always said they need to keep it together. I was upset that they didn't give James Harden that couple of million, whatever it was, to keep
$4
him there.
million.
Yeah, I was upset. Yeah, I was upset that they didn't find a way to make that happen. And because in my
Yeah.
mind, especially looking back, that was the Warriors before the Warriors came to be. They
Mm-hmm.
drafted Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Serge Ibaka. They
Yeah.
drafted those dudes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
essentially couldn't keep them together for $4 million because of $4 million.
Right. Right. Yeah. Um.
But I say all that to say, uh, I am going to be. He's right, and maybe it's because of a ring, but the fact we can't sit here and pretend like Russell Westbrook um, didn't contribute to the game what he contributed it. And for me hearing him say it is like, yeah, you right. You right.
Yeah. I think, and just kind of going back to the point about, how he's viewed in the media. I think part of that, I think that's part of it, and you're referencing the fact that he doesn't have a championship. um I could pick point guys in the league right now who've been in the league for as long as he has, that are still looking for that first one. I just seen a dude carve up my team last night that still don't got a championship to his name, and that's Chris Paul. People look at Chris Paul, and I think Chris Paul, at least from what I've seen, is still getting his flowers to this day.
Yeah.
But he needs a championship. I look at a dude like James Harden. James Harden's still looking for that first one. He definitely getting his flowers. You know.
Yeah, but James Harden is scoring with the best in the game. So
You're comparing position play. You're talking about the position of point guard, not
no,
so
I'm
much the
talking about
player itself.
no. I'm not, the reason why I'm not going. The reason why I'm not going to Chris Paul for this conversation. In my opinion, Chris Paul is a better person to compare this. In this conversation because
Mhm.
James Harden scores the basket better than it's probably Durant and Harden.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want in LeBron
And Lillard.
and then Lillard don't score like Harden. He doesn't.
I mean, what are we talking? We talking a big gap?
I'm talking about all around scoring. Who Damian Lillard don't have the size to slash to the basket like James Harden does. He don't have the ability. He's just not that. He's not.
Whose range is
He's a
better? Whose range is better from three?
Damian Lillard.
Okay,
But that's it. But that's not even. But range don't. I mean, that's you just talking about 3-pointers. James Harden is a better scorer than Damian Lillard. Like I don't even think that's a real.
well, I'm not. It's not for me to say who's better. I'm just saying when you're talking about guys that are scoring, I would put Dame in that group. I mean, the dude averaging 28 points, 29 points a game. If my math is correct on that.
That's not math. That's just looking up numbers. But I hear you. I'm not saying, and that's not me saying that Damian Lillard isn't a good scorer. I'm just talking about cats that score like the best scorers in the game. James Harden is there with the best scorers in the game and has been for 10 years. Damian Lillard has not been. So I don't want to put. That's not the argument. But getting back to the Russell Westbrook argument, Chris Paul is the best point guard. Has been the best point guard probably since he's been in the since he went to LA to the Clippers.
Best pure point guard. Yeah.
Been the best pure point guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have a ring, obviously.
Right.
He you kind of threw me over the Damian Lillard argument, but he
can score.
Well, don't bring me back there. I'm trying to catch the fucking argument back.
I'm just saying the dude could score. That's it.
He's not the upper echelon of scoring. He's just not. If you want to keep saying it, he's not the upper echelon of scoring. He's not.
What's upper echelon?
Kevin Durant, James Harden, LeBron.
You would put LeBron in there as a scorer?
I would put LeBron on there. Yeah, I would. As a pure scorer.
In terms of okay, so
he gets to the basket when he wants. He has a mid-range game. He can shoot regular threes. He has range from three. His range from three isn't as good as Damian Lillard's or Kevin Durant's or Steph Curry's, but all around scoring, LeBron James can score. When he decides he wants to score,
certain spots on the floor,
when he decides he wants to score, nobody can stop him. That's Kevin Durant. That's James Harden. When he decides I'm going to score.
So when Dame Lillard decides to score, nobody can stop him.
That's not true. Because if you force him to go to if you force Damian Lillard to go to the basket, he's not scoring with the same efficiency that those other three players are. If you're asking him to score in the mid-range game, he's not scoring the same way those other three guys are.
Yeah, so I don't know about that, but
you telling me that and then let's add free throws in there. He definitely don't get to the free throw line like those other three.
Who, Dame?
Dame, yeah.
Okay, I'll give you that if we're talking. I mean, you're talking about
all around scoring.
You're talking about the
all
jumper.
Around scoring.
You're talking about slashing to the basket in the paint. You're talking about all that stuff. You're talking about the 15-footer, the paint. three outside of from 3-point range
Yeah,
and
all
free
around scoring.
throws.
All around
Okay.
scoring.
Okay.
Yeah, Damian
Okay.
Lillard's not up there.
Okay.
As much as
Carry
I like
on.
Steph Curry's not up there.
Well, Steph, here's what I know about Steph. He can get to the basket. He can shoot the three, obviously. He can shoot free throws. I think maybe the one weakness is the 15-footer, the J. That might be the one weakness of the four that I just mentioned
I
with
think
him.
we watch basketball. I think we watch basketball different, bruh. Steph Curry.
You don't
Steph
think that's his
Curry.
weakness? You don't think the 15-footer is his weakness aside from the other stuff I just mentioned?
No, I think he just chooses not to shoot 15-footers. I think Steph Curry's the best shooter in the game. If he wanted to shoot 15-footers, he'd shoot 15-footers. He just doesn't aim to shoot 15-footers. I think if he had a weakness in this game, it's him getting to the basket because he's just not big enough to slash with big boys. And big boys when they're not. Come on, man.
I don't know. I don't know, bro. I don't know what games we're watching, but
It's the reason why he's one of the best running around the court shooters in the game. Because if he had to isolate, and he's just not the size of James Harden. James Harden is bulky.
So I think we're looking at this differently. Now that you say isolation, I think we're looking at this differently.
That's
Steph
all
can
around
get
scoring though.
no, but I'm saying Steph. You're saying Steph can't get to the basket, and I think you're talking from an ISO standpoint. I'm saying Steph can get to the basket, but maybe not from an ISO standpoint. I'm saying Steph can get to the paint and he can score. Like like you're talking about, he does all the running around with the ball, and before you know it, he's in the paint and he's scoring. That's not ISO. So I think we're just talking from two different standpoints here. But Steph
I don't
can
even
get
think
to
he
the rack.
does what you're saying a lot. I don't
Huh?
even think he does a. I don't think he does a lot of what you're saying a lot. I don't think
What's
he does a lot of running.
what's a lot? Because I've seen him do it.
Sure,
It's just a
because you've seen
question
him do
of
it doesn't mean that's
it's
his
just a question
strength.
of
It just
how
means he
it's
can
just a
do
question
it.
how much he does it, and I think I've seen him do it quite a bit
Just
from the
because he
games I've
can do it
watched.
doesn't mean just because he can do it doesn't mean that that's his strength. That just means he can do it.
So how do you equate that then?
Because I know I watched James Harden sit there, walk you down, get to the rack. I've seen
Sure,
James Harden when James Harden goes to the rack, one or two things
right.
more times than not is happening. He's making the basket or he's getting fouled. That's not that like we on the joint.
Sure, you're
He's
talking
either
about from an ISO standpoint. I'm
but
with
I'm
you there.
saying
You're
that
talking.
people okay, let me say it better then or
Mm-hmm,
differently.
mm-hmm.
Guards don't even really run the floor to get in the paint buckets like that. Like I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but that's not something that guards do. Guards normally are running the floor
Sure,
to get
like
the
it's not their strength,
so you're saying so that's what I'm saying about Steph Curry. Steph Curry's
right?
strength isn't in the I think
But I
his
don't. But I
that's
don't. But I was saying I don't think that's one of his weaknesses, though. I don't think that's the weakness in his game. Is I think when I'm to get to, he can do
so
it, and you're right.
let
He
me
can
ask
do
the
it, and he could. Go ahead. Go ahead.
he can do all four of those things. I'm just saying that if he the thing he's not strongest at or weakness, however you want to frame it,
Yeah.
is him getting to the basket. Whether it's him running the floor to get to the basket or him in ISO having to get to the basket, his flaw is that
Okay.
he's the
So
best shooter in the world. You telling me he can't shoot 15 footers? He just doesn't want to shoot 15 footers.
okay. So okay. I guess I'm confused then, because just because one person does one thing more than the other doesn't necessarily mean that he's weak at the thing that he does more than the other.
But it's a reason why Steph Curry doesn't do it. It's a reason why he won't go to the rack off the ISO. If you play a little bit of
Right, off the
ball,
ISO. I
there's
agree
a
with you there. You're saying off
there's
the
a reason why
ISO.
he won't do.
I
There's a
agree
reason
with you
why he
there.
won't.
I'm
Yeah, but
saying
there's also
that he gets to the basket when he's dribbling, running around the court, and just when you think he's about to dish it to somebody, or you think he's going to go right back to the 3-point line, he'll fool you and just get right to the paint, and he'll score right underneath you.
yeah, he's done that before. But if you're asking
He's
me
done that
what
a lot.
better, if you're asking me what he's better at, the 15 footer or doing what you just said,
Mm-hmm.
15 footer.
The 15.
He's the best shooter in the game.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but you got to show me highlights where he's knocking down 15
You know I'm
footers.
not going to
Like,
show you highlights. Just like if I asked you to show me highlights of him going to the going to the paint, uh, you're not going to show me a highlight reel of that. That's
okay,
I'm just
well
going to
then look.
disagree.
Well then, yeah, I guess we're gonna have to agree to disagree here, sir. Because based on the games
But
that I've watched, based on the number of Warriors games that I've watched in the last few years, I've seen him get to the paint and score more than I've seen him shoot 15 footers. Now you may be right. Maybe he doesn't want to shoot the 15 footer all that much. Maybe he, you know, and you're right about the whole ISO situation. He's never gonna, score in the paint from an ISO situation. He's never gonna do
But it's the
that.
same, right? But what I was trying to say is the reason why he won't do it in ISO, and the reason why he won't do it and he don't want to do it in cuts if he don't have to,
Yeah.
is because he's going to get knocked. He's going to get beat up in the paint.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get the elbow. He's going to get
Yeah,
those little
I
slick
agree.
things that it takes somebody with mass to be able to have to go and hold that. Like
Right.
he don't want to do that. James Harden is, and I'll even give you this: James Harden ain't the guy that runs the floor because he's so good in ISO, so he don't have to run the
Right.
floor.
You don't have to run the
But
floor.
I,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but I will say in turn that he does that better. Like
And I
the
was gonna
way
say,
he does it.
I don't see James Harden like the way we describe Steph running around the floor trying to get somebody open and things like. I don't necessarily see James Harden all that much do that. Not
Because he
as
don't
much
have
as
to.
not as much as ISO.
Yeah, because he could do it. He's so good at doing it off the ball. I mean, with the
Yeah.
ball in his hand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so he don't have to do that because he can. He's big enough to push your hand in ISO. He's big enough to do those types of things in ISO that get you free to the basket for a
Right.
pass, a foul, or a shot. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Steph Curry is that. Those are types of things, in my opinion, that make the upper echelon scorers the upper echelon scorers. Is why I can't put that. Like in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
just my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
it's like small dudes that are those elite scorers.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe Allen Iverson, and that's where it stops. Really,
Mm-hmm. Because he was what? How tall was Iverson?
6 something, but he's small though. Like I'm not even like it's not even so much. I mean, of course it's about height, but it's not even so much.
No, you're
He
talking
goes
about
to
if he was bulky or not. You're talking about
he
guys that are
goes to
built.
the rack and he gets knocked down.
He was
He
fearless.
gets
Yeah.
knocked down. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like Steph Curry don't go to the rack like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No,
Like
not off of ISO situations. He
yeah, not
doesn't.
even all like. But AI did it off the ball as well, though. Is what I'm saying.
Right.
Now, obviously, Steph Curry got a better jumper. Like, obviously, I don't mean to bring. My point
Mm-hmm.
is that there's an upper echelon of scores, and in my opinion, that's LeBron, that's KD, that's James Harden, and anybody feel free to if I'm missing somebody. But if upper echelon, maybe
Good.
Jimmy Butler, maybe.
I don't know if I put Jimmy Butler in that group. I'm still
Yeah,
trying to
right.
figure
That's
if you're
I
talking
said.
about,
Yeah, I'm.
but if you're talking about upper echelon, I'm not even sure LeBron belongs in terms
Who's
of
stopping
upper
LeBron? Like, be
echelon
real.
scoring.
Who's really stopping LeBron if when he says I'm doing what I want to do besides himself?
Yeah, but you can say that about any player. You can say that about James
Who?
Harden. You can say that about James Harden, right?
But yeah, but that's why James Harden is in the upper echelon of scoring.
Right. So
I'm
okay.
saying if you really wanted to stop. If you really want to stop Steph Curry, you can stop him. If you really want to stop Damian Lillard, you can stop him. Defense within your scheme, you can really stop him. There's things you could do that you could really stop him. We've seen Steph Curry be bad in finals, in series or games,
Yeah.
or we've seen him be stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, if Damian Lillard is
So
unstoppable,
bad. So categorize bad for me because I think about which finals was it? The finals that Cleveland won. That the finals that the Cavs won in those last 3-4 minutes of that game 7. Yeah, Steph was bad down the stretch. Now, I categorize that as bad because his shooting was off. Um, so if you're telling me that that was a way to stop Steph because he, down the stretch of that particular game, he was, he wasn't knocking down shots. I've seen LeBron, and I'm just talking from the 3-point line. I'm not just talking about all around game, but I've seen LeBron go through a slump where the dude's just trying to knock down threes, and he'll go 0 for 4, 0 for 5.
But was it?
You
But
know.
that's the thing about. But that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron chose to shoot threes. If LeBron said, "All right, I know the defense is giving me the three, but I need to get to the rack,"
Sure,
nobody's stopping him.
sure, sure.
if Steph Curry, and that's the thing about, I mean, obviously that's the thing about 3-pointers, and I get we're talking about the best shooter in NBA
Mm-hmm.
history.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not falling, it's not falling.
Right. If it's
If
not
Steph
falling, then
Curry's
it's not
jumpers
falling.
is
Right.
if his jumper's not falling from three, is not falling.
Mm-hmm.
He can't change up and just start going to the basket, because
Mm-hmm.
he gonna start getting knocked around, and he don't want to do that
Yeah, he
because
won't
it
go to
takes
the
a
basket
certain.
from an ISO point. He won't do that. I agree with you there.
He'll steal buckets off of cuts. I get that.
That and
But
that's what I'm trying to get to. That's
he's
all I was trying to get to.
right. But I'm not. I never denied that. I'm just saying my
Mm-hmm.
my argument with you as far as Steph Curry is that
Mm-hmm.
he's not better at those cuts getting to the basket than he is shooting 15 footers. I just don't agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we just gonna
But
have to we're just
yeah,
gonna
I
have
said
to
it five
agree to
minutes ago.
disagree.
But getting
No.
to the but I
Who
don't
was we
even remember
talking
what the hell
about?
we was.
Who the hell
I
was we
don't
talking
know.
about? We was
I
talking
don't
about
really
Russell
know.
Westbrook. We was talking about Russell Westbrook.
And I done-
And
and
you
I
think
done
he's not
lost that, and I
and you
don't
think he's
remember.
not getting the respect because he doesn't have a ring.
I
And
don't, but
I'm
I don't remember. Yeah, we
and
can
I'm
just move
and I'm
on.
saying and I was saying I don't think he's getting the respect because I think the media doesn't like his personality. I think that's
Yeah,
part
but
of
I
where
don't
that
remember
comes
what my
from.
point was. Yeah, we can move on. I don't remember what
No,
my
because
point was.
you were saying how Kevin Durant sort of has sort of the same personality with the media and stuff, and I was slightly agreeing and slightly disagreeing in the sense that I think Durant can change it up when it comes to the media. I haven't seen Westbrook do that within the media. So
I mean, but the major difference between that is Kevin Durant got a ring. So I mean, again, I still don't really. I just, we can move on. I don't remember. I ain't gonna say it. You can move on.
no, I just told you. It's
Nah,
okay.
but that wasn't. No, that wasn't because we wasn't. That was part of it, but we got deeper because we was talking about my comparison between Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook, and
That's
then you
right.
kept saying something about
That's
Daniel
right.
Lillard. That's why I was
That's right.
saying.
So
But we can
so
move on.
so to the Chris Paul point though, he doesn't
You
have a
trying to
ring,
rehash it? I don't remember my point.
huh?
Like we could nothing. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying to the Chris Paul point. I agree with you. I think that's a better comparison to Russell Westbrook if we're trying to distinguish why we think Westbrook doesn't get the love that he deserved.
Does Chris Paul get the love he deserves?
To this day, more than Westbrook does.
More than Westbrook,
But your
but
point was Westbrook
what's
doesn't
your
have a
opinion on
ring.
Chris Paul then? What's your opinion on Chris Paul?
My opinion on Chris Paul, he's
Legacy.
legacy. One of the he'll probably be a top 5 point guard in the NBA's history. I think when it's all said and done, top 5 in
What's
NBA
your
history.
what's your legacy on Russell Westbrook?
Russell Westbrook, the dude is going to the Hall of Fame, like first ballot. There's
But I'm just
just
talking
no
about their
denying
game.
that.
I'm talking
But
about
in
their
terms,
games though.
but in terms of their game in the echelon of point guards, um, he'll be up there with the greats. I think at the end of the day, though, at the end of the day, you get judged on rings. you get judged on that, and I think that if you're talking about a top five category amongst point guards in the league's history, I don't know that he'll crack that top five, and I think
So
it'll
a
be
dude
because of
that
the ring situation.
so a dude that damn near averages a triple double
Mm-hmm.
multiple years
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get a top five point guard nod, but Chris Paul, who doesn't sniff, I don't think ever sniffs 10 rebounds a game, uh, gets top point guard nods.
Yeah. The media loves Chris Paul more than they love Russell Westbrook,
Why they who?
and it's silly. And it's silly if you're asking me or telling me that that's silly, then I agree. It's silly, but
And
I've
I don't know
watched
why and why do you say the media loves Chris Paul?
why because
Yeah, I
Chris
don't know that they love him. I don't. I mean, I
or
guess
let me
State
say it
Farm.
this way, or let me say it this way. I think Chris Paul interacts with the media better to the media's liking than Russell
Okay.
Westbrook
Okay.
does. I'll
So
categorize it that
essentially,
way.
it sounds like you're saying
Hmm.
that a between is it safe to say just statistically, obviously Chris Paul has been I don't even know if he's been better. Um Statistically, Russell Westbrook has been a better basketball player than Chris Paul. Statistically, and I'm only talking
And I
stats.
think physically, and I think physically he's been better than Chris
Obviously,
Paul.
Chris Paul has led
Hmm.
teams in a better fashion, blizzy blizzy blah, which is why we're going to call it. Which
IQ,
is why
yeah.
he'll, yeah. But we're talking about why won't we give Russell Westbrook at least the same flowers as Chris Paul? If it's just because he does
Hmm.
State Farm commercials and he's the commissioner of, he helps in the not the commissioner, he helps in
Players Association.
the there you go, Players Association.
Hmm. That may be a
That's
part of
bullshit.
it. That
That's
may be a part
bullshit
of
to
it.
me.
Yeah,
That's
I no,
bullshit
I
to me.
listen,
Russell
listen.
Westbrook.
At the end of the day, this conversation is silly. At the end of the day, when it comes to us talking about how the media feels about certain players, it's a silly conversation. It's a silly situation to have. But I think there's something to that because we see it on TV in these post game pressers. We see this stuff. At least I do. I don't know about you, but
Yeah, and I mean, and I just let you rock because I don't watch a whole bunch of press conferences, but I ain't never seen Russell Westbrook be rude or standoffish unless he was asked a question he didn't like.
mm-hmm.
But I've never seen him do anything that was unsatisfactory in press conferences in the media, that type of thing. I've never
Right,
seen it.
right, and it may not just be whether he's rude or not. It just might be that the media just wants to have some fun with these players, and Russell Westbrook's not taking the bait,
I I don't
and
even
it's
know what
silly.
that means.
And again, it's silly. It's
But just
I
to your
think it's
point, I don't
stupid.
even know what that means. I don't even know what they want to have fun. Like, what do you mean have fun? What fun do they want to have that they're not getting from Russell Westbrook that they're getting from a Chris Paul or that they're getting from?
you're the media's favorite. Like you like Russell Westbrook. Doesn't say stuff that you know gets you on Sports Center often per se. Like you don't hear you know things that are funny or hilarious or things like that. You don't hear that often from Russell Westbrook in terms of just the
I
demeanor
don't hear that from
and the
Chris Paul.
personality, huh?
I don't hear that from Chris Paul.
But I think what you said about him being as a part of the Players Association and working with other players and people of officials in the NBA, media people, I think there's something to that.
Well, I hear you, and I don't want to keep dragging the conversation, but I can't see how a guy who averages a triple double, who has averaged triple doubles a few times,
Hmm.
has and won an MVP and those type of things, has a doesn't have a better career. Like I don't see how Chris Paul is here and Russell Westbrook is there. I don't see how the media views it that way. I don't see how anybody could view it that way if you watch Chris Paul play and you watch Russell Westbrook play?
Well, all I'll say is this: I know I give Russell Westbrook his flowers. I mean, he deserves it. I mean, he's averaged a triple double what 3 straight years, I think. So at least from my standpoint, he's gonna get his flowers, and I'm sure
He's a
I
better
speak
player
for
than
you.
Chris Paul.
I,
He's had a
I I'm
better career than Chris Paul, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that, and I would go and extend further to say that I think not just from a numbers standpoint, but I think from a physical standpoint also, Russell Westbrook is better physically than Chris Paul is, and when I mean physically, I'm just talking about being able to run the floor. You know what I'm saying? Being able to, snag rebounds, um, get your teammates involved, pull up Jays, things like that. Chris Paul, the numbers doesn't show it with Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul plays with a tough mindset. I think Chris Paul is a smarter point guard in terms of IQ than Russell Westbrook. But I think overall, when you talk about when you talk about the physical, when you talk about the numbers, Russell Westbrook is there over Chris Paul.
Yep.
So what are you looking forward to in the draft Thursday?
I'm looking forward to Najee getting Najee Harris, and hopefully Asante Samuel Jr. After that, I mean, look, obviously we can get into it. We need a center. We need to get better on the offensive line. I would love to get another inside linebacker. I mean, our cornerbacks were young as hell. And then Justin Lane, who is like a depth cornerback, might not even be on the Steelers because he just got caught up in some shit with the law. I've been seeing on Twitter. So I don't know if he's going to even be on the team this year. So that cornerback depth. I mean, it's obvious. It's places we need to go, but right now, if you're asking me what right now I'm focused on, Najee Harris in the first round is what I'm focused on. If we can't get Najee Harris, then maybe the cat from Travis Etienne. I hope that's how he pronounces his name. Um, and really after that, just address the needs. I know we a lot of people been leaving and coming back and all this, that's been going on in Steelers free agency. Um, the running game needs to get fixed so we could get Ben Roethlisberger some help. If he's got to be our quarterback, he's got to be our quarterback. So we need to facilitate him being able to be as efficient as he can. So with that, we need to get this running game together.
Let
That's my
me
focus.
let me shout out the Facebook Live chat group right now. I don't want to forget them. Mocha Bella, got Kev 303. We got Vince Wright. We got my wife in the chat room. Also got Kesey in the Facebook Live chat. So shout out to everybody that supported joint. With the Ravens, and we just got 2 first round picks because of the Orlando Brown trade, which I
Yep.
don't necessarily like. Not because I felt like they should have kept Orlando Brown Jr., but it's more so because of the team that they traded him to and sort of made them better than, what they were last year, given that,
Yep.
they had some compromising with the offensive line. We saw that in the Super Bowl with the
Well, they were
Chiefs.
injured,
They were
and
injured.
not the yeah.
Sure, sure.
I think that would have went a little different if had they not been injured. That's just my opinion. But go ahead.
Now, did the Chiefs not bring somebody back who was injured off that offensive line?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I thought Eric Fisher was the one that got hurt, right? He was one of the
Both
injured
of their starting
players.
tackles were both of their starting guards or tackles. I don't remember. Both of their
Yeah,
starting guards or tackles was injured.
yeah. I'm just trying to remember the name of who that
Oh yeah, I
was,
don't know. I
but
don't
I
remember.
don't. But I don't think I for some reason I don't think Eric Fisher is there anymore. However, nonetheless, we made the Chiefs a better football team with the trade, at least in my book. Um, so we got 2 first round picks. And historically, this team's never had two first round picks historically. So it sounds to me like two things. I know that they're gonna need pass rush because Judon's not there no more, and Ngakwe signed with the Raiders, so we're gonna need pass rush. Um, I would like to see them get their hands on a pass rusher with one of those first two picks. The second pick, they need a wide receiver, and I got love for Hollywood Brown, but he's just not enough, man. And we lost Willie Snead, so we're definitely gonna have to replace him and a couple other guys with a receiver. And I'm not gonna praise Sammy Watkins. That pickup was just a typical veteran wide receiver pickup for the Ravens. That's typically what they
Mm-hmm.
do. And Sammy Watkins, compared to some of the veterans that we've picked up in the past, has had a history of nagging injuries. So I'm not even sure that Sammy Watkins is going to play a full 16 games for us. So I would expect that they go after pass rush. I would expect that they go after a wide receiver with those first two picks. And then we'll see what happens, the rest of the way. I think we got 9 picks total throughout the draft. So
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of what I'm looking forward to. How they're gonna
Anybody
address
you
the two
looking at in
pick.
particular for pass rush or wide receiver?
I haven't been paying much attention to college football, and I'm sure you haven't either. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's just certain names that kind of stick out. There's really for me, there's really no names that really stick out. For
Okay.
me, I just want them to address the position because we lost
Gotcha.
two pass rushers. We
Mm-hmm.
and I know I haven't been as high on Judon or Ngakwe. It's just more so that they're not elite guys that you want to give them second contracts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad Judon got his money elsewhere. I'm glad that Ngakwe got his money elsewhere. But typically at that position, the Ravens are going to pay you big bucks when you can consistently, get to the quarterback and you're elite at doing that. And those two guys just weren't doing that. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then just kind of going back to the Orlando Brown trade, I understand it from the standpoint that we weren't going to pay him. We gave Ronnie Stanley money, so you're not going to give big time money to two tackles. I don't think I've ever seen a team do that before. You normally pay one tackle that kind of money. You don't pay two tackles that kind of money.
So
So
let me interject if you don't mind.
yeah,
Um, so you don't and I don't what did they pay the other tackle?
Stanley,
Like they paid him top dog money?
they paid Stanley top dog money. Yeah, yeah, that
Okay,
wasn't
well if you paid
the
him
yeah
top
that
dog money, but you don't. How was Orlando Brown last year? Was he
I thought
okay?
he was
Was he
good.
satisfied?
I thought he
Okay,
was good.
so I'm saying I'm asking because why wouldn't you try to secure two tackles um with your quarterback?
I think the concept I don't in that perspective. I'm just saying that when you look around the league and really when you look at history, I don't know of a pair of tackles that have ever been paid big money by the same franchise at the same time.
Okay.
So it wasn't a surprise for me to see them part ways with him. And really it was a good job on the Ravens part to instead trade him versus lose him for nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that you weren't going to be able to pay him. So at least I give him
I'm
credit
just
for that.
saying. I'm sure. I'm just saying that, and with Lamar Jackson being your asset, obviously your highest asset, obviously,
Yeah,
that you would want to protect him to the best of your ability. That's why I asked.
sure. Yeah, no doubt. No question. You definitely want to put the best offensive lineman around your quarterback, no question about it. But I think when you're talking about um I think when you're talking about two tackles, and let's remember this too, Orlando Brown took Ronnie Stanley's position on the left side after Ronnie got hurt against Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
So Orlando Brown was always for us, he was always the right tackle, but had to play left because of the injury. And so Orlando Brown kind of played it as, hey, you know what? I would like to get left tackle money. And obviously that's the blind side. And the blind side guys normally get more bucks than the guys that play on the right side. So there was that play also. And at that point you just knew there's no way. They paid Ronnie all that money. They're not going to give Orlando Brown Jr. that money too. And then not have enough money, for other positions, and Lamar Jackson's coming up. You know what I'm saying? They just gave, I just heard on the radio, they gave Baker Mayfield the 1-year option. So it sounds to me like Cleveland wants to, re-up with him after the 5.
Did they give Lamar Jackson? Did the same for Lamar?
For what, the 5th option?
Didn't they exercise the option for him?
You know what? I think
know they definitely did it for Minka Fitzpatrick, but I'm pretty sure.
You know what? Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, they did do that for Lamar.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes to the point of you want to make sure
they got to sign him. Yeah,
you want to make sure you keep your guy, and unfortunately, you're going to lose some parts of the team, and if it means it's a guy that played left tackle for you when he traditionally plays right tackle, and he wanted left tackle money. Let that man go get left tackle money. I'm happy he got another place to play. I'm not happy that it's the Chiefs, but at least he's got an opportunity to play left tackle and be paid like a left tackle.
Yeah, I hear you.
But as far as like other things with the draft, I guess I'm intrigued by the quarterbacks. Like obviously we know Trevor Lawrence is going number 1. We know that. But I keep hearing this thing about Justin Fields dropping down in the draft.
Yeah, they've been talking about that for a minute.
Right. They've been talking about it for a while. I don't remember who it was. So I think it was Chris Sims that put out his mock draft earlier this morning. And he had Fields going number 32 to the Bucks. And I know, and I get it's a mock draft, and I know these guys got to put something out just to get, content and stuff like that. But I would be shocked if he fell all the way down to number 32. That's just my opinion.
I can't remember. Don't ask me to remember these other quarterbacks' names that they have been putting above him.
Mac Jones,
Trask, Trey Lance, Mac Jones.
Zach Wilson.
I wouldn't be surprised. Zach Wilson was the first guy I was thinking about.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised, bro. I mean, look, we seen this movie before. I mean, the last person that was Lamar Jackson. Yeah, he was treated like that, and you seen what happened. So I mean, it don't surprise me. The NFL don't.
Yeah,
really,
they want their white boys up there. They want them white quarterbacks up there.
Yeah, they want guys that they believe they're white people. Yeah, you're right. They want.
Yeah, they want their white quarterbacks. That's really all that
they'll say they want. It's more they want pure passers, but yeah, I mean, you ain't lying.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
These
but he'll get drafted. We're clear that he'll be drafted somewhere.
Of course, he'll get drafted. He'll get drafted.
And I guess that affects money depending on his draft placement would affect money, him getting his highest potential of money. But I trust that he'll be fine.
All right. We'll see about that. I just got one more thing with the draft. And I've been bringing it up for quite some time, but I just feel strong, and I'm gonna die on this hill. But the Falcons got to take a quarterback. I just and you could tell me no, they don't. They don't have to, but I just think that when you start a new regime with a new head coach and a new general manager, and you got a quarterback who's aging, he's 35 years old, and yeah, he can still play. He can still, he can still throw the football, but why not think about your future right now? And
I heard that Julio Jones is on the block.
Who's that?
I heard that they are
they're shopping Julio.
Entertaining. Yeah, I heard they're entertaining Julio offers.
Yeah,
Now I tell you this: if
mhm,
Julio leaves, yeah, he should go.
that he Julio should go. You're
Matt
saying?
Ryan. If
Oh,
Julio,
Matt
if
Ryan.
Julio,
Hmm.
if Julio goes, Matt Ryan should go. Because now you're talking. Now you, um,
Hmm.
I, I get. Well, it depends on how you look at it. You're talking about. Well, let's in plain terms. These are the two staples of your team, of
Hmm.
your franchise: Julio Jones, Matt Ryan.
Hmm.
Um, I
I
think,
might have to say that Calvin Ridley is a staple, just because he's young and he
huh?
just got there. Calvin
Okay, no,
Ridley.
no, 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 no. Calvin really no staple meaning the guys who like when you think Atlanta Falcons, you don't think Calvin Ridley. You think Julio Jones. You think Matt Ryan. That's what you think.
No, but you're talking from a like a popularity thing with the team. I'm talking about who's important to your team right now and to the future is what I'm talking about. Calvin Ridley
When you
is a
say
part of
future,
that
you
team's future.
mean this. Sure, but when you talk about future, you mean like this season coming up.
This season and beyond.
Okay, right now Julio Jones is a higher asset than Calvin Ridley.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm
I
just
go. Matt Ryan is a higher asset than Calvin Ridley right now.
well, sure, because they're getting paid the most money
No,
on the team.
because that's who they are on to the team. Calvin Ridley is not more important of a player to the Falcons than Matt Ryan is to the Falcons.
Well, I think he's important in terms of who the future of the franchise is going to be. Not to say that he's going to be the face of the team. I'm saying if you're
When I
talking
say
about this
staple, I
year,
mean faces of the team. The Atlanta Falcons are based on the Atlanta Falcons
sure,
like
sure.
that Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. That when I say stable, that's what I mean. That's so if you let Julio go, you're signifying that okay, maybe it's time to rebuild. Maybe it's time to retool this team.
Mm.
If you let Julio go ahead and let Matt Ryan go. If you're keeping Julio for whatever reason, you you in my mind you let Matt Ryan rock.
Here's how I see that playing out. Let's say they do trade Julio Jones, right? Um, I still see Matt Ryan on this team for this season. Um, I don't know that anybody's gonna, trade for that contract. Not that they don't need a quarterback. Not that other teams don't need a quarterback, but I just think with the money and the cap and he's got the Falcons kind of glued to that. I don't see him going anywhere whether Julio stays or not for just this season alone. Now,
Well, let's be
if
clear. Wherever Matt Ryan goes next, I don't think he's a starter.
you don't think so,
Wherever he goes next, meaning
like
when
his
the
next stop,
Falcons, yeah, I don't think he's a starter.
really,
No,
huh? That's interesting. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at that, but if you're asking me on his next stop, does he get a starting job? I would have to lean more so yes than no, just based on performance. Just based on performance. I don't think it
his
warrants
performance
him.
in the past 2 years.
Um, his performance, yeah, I guess you could because I was just gonna go back maybe back to the Super Bowl year, but yeah, I mean that includes the last 2 years, and it
Okay,
hasn't been good, but I
that's
don't
what I was
think
about to
it's the
say.
I don't think it's. Let me put it this way: the Falcons being as bad as they were last year, I don't think Matt Ryan was at fault, nor do I think he was the number one reason why the Falcons were what they were last year. I do think they definitely got issues on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, you could point there and start there. I think they had issues with coaching strategies and things like that. I think you can point there. I think Matt Ryan, if you're talking about blame for a season going bad, he's probably like maybe third or fourth down that list.
How many teams you think he could start? Like how many teams based on the roster as the teams as they are right now?
Right now, not including
Um,
this draft.
right now, how many
Mm-hmm.
teams do you think he starts for?
He can start for the Denver Broncos. He can start
Okay,
for the Washington football team. And hell, even though they got Andy Dalton, whack ass, he could start for the Chicago Bears over Andy
Okay.
Dalton in my book.
Okay.
So that's three teams right there.
Well,
Carolina, because they're still not, committed to Sam Darnold. So
well,
yeah,
you can't throw credit. I wouldn't. They just. So you think they would bring in? I would eliminate Chicago because they just bought in Andy Dalton. I would
sure,
eliminate.
sure.
I would eliminate Carolina because they just bought in. I wouldn't eliminate the football team because it's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but but honestly, I would eliminate. Depending on how you feel about Drew Lock, I think I would eliminate Denver. I
Mm-hmm.
still think that they think
Mm-hmm.
Drew Lock is the answer.
That they think that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So they
Well,
wouldn't bring in Matt Ryan for $15 million because they got a dude that they think.
right. And realistically, with the money he's making, realistically he's not being traded anywhere. We're really talking about after this coming season, if he goes somewhere else and has a chance to start. I think that's where you really got to evaluate how many teams can he start for. And I think at
Well,
that point, and I think
what
at that
makes you
point,
so certain? What makes you
so
so? What makes you so certain? And I'm not saying I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just
mhm.
asking what makes you so certain that Matt Ryan is a starting quarterback. Like he does that, he doesn't get cut, or he doesn't get released, or he doesn't get put on the trading block
Oh, I think they'll either trade him or he will get cut, because I do think that
this year.
after this season, after this coming
Oh no no
season.
no. Okay, that's where we bump. That's what we're missing. I'm talking about this season.
Oh,
I'm talking
well,
about
oh,
2021.
oh well, no, then no. But I was talking about after this coming season, there will be more opportunity for them to either decide, do we want to keep him, do we want to trade him, or do we want to cut him? And I think if two of those three things happen, which would be releasing him or trading him, whoever that next team is, I think there'll be a couple of opportunities for him to start somewhere. Because
So,
again,
but you do
the
feel like
Washington
so.
because again, the Washington football team has Ryan Fitzpatrick. We don't know what direction they might go after this coming season. The Denver Broncos, depending on the player Drew Lock, and we have yet to really see Drew Lock, at his best, if there is such a thing. They might be someone that looks at Matt Ryan next offseason and says, "Hey, we need a quarterback." You know what I'm saying? We might look at the Chicago Bears. They might just say, "Hey, Andy Dalton, it's been nice knowing you, but
Okay,
we got to
well,
part
yeah.
ways."
Well, our narrative kind of changes because I thought you was talking about this season because you was saying that the Falcons need to draft a quarterback. If the Falcons need to draft a quarterback this draft,
Yeah.
then and obviously that doesn't mean Matt Ryan needs to leave, that he's leaving this
Right.
year. That obviously doesn't mean that.
Right.
But if you draft the quarterback, if they need to draft him this year,
Right.
um, then then and the rumors of Julio Jones being on the trading block or whatever.
Right.
Um, New regime. Why can't there be a new quarterback right now?
Yep. You're preaching everything I was saying earlier about
Right, but but
the
you're talking about next season. I'm saying why it can't happen this season if there's a new regime. There's a rumors of Julio
because
Jones
I
being put
because
on
I
the.
don't think they can afford to cut Matt Ryan. If the option was to release him, I don't think they can afford to do that. That's why I
Why
say
not?
it can't happen this year, because the
When you
because the
say
number because the number on the cap hit would be enormous for them to just release him
you know
and
that for
have
a
to eat
fact,
that. I know that
because
for a
I don't
fact.
think.
I know that
Okay.
for a fact.
Okay, I
I
don't
know
know
that
his
for a
numbers,
fact.
and I know
Now,
I know he's been in a contract for some years.
right, and I think he's got two. No, he's got this year, and then he's got 2 years after that. So if they cut him this year before the season starts, they would eat up like a
I
whole
wish
lot
I
of
was a
money.
fact check type of nigga. I don't know that to be true. I don't know that to be true. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, because he's getting a lot of money on the back end of the deal. which means that when you get money on the back end of a deal, that means if a team decided to part ways with somebody, then the cap hit decreases as the years go by.
Sure,
So so so
I
so
know.
so obviously this year, I mean, because let's be real, they would have cut Matt Ryan already. I mean, let's keep it a buck. They would have
What makes you
been
so sure about that?
they why why cut him after the draft? That's the part that
Oh, I thought you said why when they would have cut him a long time ago. I'm thinking you talking about like before, like
oh
last
no
season or type.
oh no no no
Okay,
no
you
no no
saying
no 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 no.
okay
I'm talking about now. I'm talking about like right this second
this
leading
off
up to the
season? Why
draft.
wouldn't it?
Right. Yeah. Like to me, they would have cut him by now if they thought they could have
If
eat
they
that
would have,
money. But
right?
but
Okay, yeah,
obviously
I agree there. I agree there.
but obviously they can't eat that money. So I
I don't know that that's
personally
why they didn't cut him, but I hear you. But they
yeah.
would have cut him by now
And
if
and
that was
and
the
I think
plan.
he's still good. I think he's relatively still good. I don't think I mean he's getting older obviously, but I don't think the dude's falling off a cliff like that just yet
Mm-hmm.
for them to say okay, we've had enough. But I just think and I don't know what the draft class of quarterbacks is going to be the following year. And the fact that you got a legit 5 quarterbacks that are going to be going in the first round. I mean legit 5 quarterbacks that can go in this round. That this may be the year for them to say, you know what, we'll keep Matt Ryan for one more year. Let's draft our
If
guy of the
you're
future. Let him sit on the bench. Let Matt Ryan, show him the ropes and all that stuff for one year. And then after the season, they can decide what they want to do with Matt Ryan. If there's a trade offer someplace, if let's say the football team, they part ways with Fitzpatrick and they need a quarterback, then you make the deal there. If there's no takers and the cap is not going to be as much of a hit as it would have been this offseason, then you just let them go and you just move on with the future. And I
I
think that
say it,
happens regardless of whether Julio gets traded this offseason or not.
I say that if you're right in that he has 3 years left on his contract, that they need to go ahead and let Matt Ryan ride for 2 more years, then draft a quarterback that quarterback sit for 1 year.
Hmm. Like I would be okay if they didn't draft a quarterback this year. You know what I mean?
I would
Like
be okay if they didn't draft a quarterback this year or next year.
or you said or
Me,
next year? Okay.
yeah, me.
Okay.
If emphatically he has 3 years on his contract, like you just said,
Got you.
then
Because
yeah, he could chill for the next. He could chill.
hmm
He got a job for 2 years in my
and I
mind.
think you and I agree he's still a good quarterback. I think you and I agree
Um,
he's still good. I don't think he's dropped off to where it's like it's so bad that they
he's a
gotta
serviceable. I won't call him
let it
good. He's a
go.
serviceable quarterback.
At this stage of his career. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a serviceable quarterback.
yeah. It hasn't been a heavy drop off from his play anyway. So um, if you got nothing else, man, it's too hot in this damn room. I'm about to wrap this thing up, bro.
You might have to sort that out, bro, because you got the whole summer to be doing this.
Yeah, yeah. These first 16, but I'm not gonna get into it. I'll rap about it with you after the stream here. But shout out to everybody in the chat, Facebook Live. Make sure y'all continue to follow the Facebook page. Also, make sure y'all subscribe to our YouTube channel and also follow us on social media. We're on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Also on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. And if you guys got any questions or comments about the show, you can email us at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. So that's it for the show. I'm Trey Fraser. That's Maestro Styles. If you got nothing to say, brother, let's get up on out of here, man.
Love.
No doubt, no doubt. Y'all have a